What are successful examples of decolonizing university or department? What made these efforts successful? How, if at all, are students centered and or involved in decolonizing higher education institutions? I think I've answered that last part about how, not to place too much responsibility on students, how universities have got to lead the way. I think that there are some universities that have made structural changes. I think Birmingham City University has made structural changes by developing studies programs, core curriculum programs. And I think the emphasis here is core curriculum programs. If you have temporary programs, optional programs, most times students that aren't looking to increase their workload are going to opt out of those programs because they're here to get a degree. And often they're looking for the quickest route in. And often the quickest route in is the familiar. And the familiar is often that which is being taught in secondary schools. It's the Treaty of Versailles. It's the Second World War. It's the rise of Nazism. It is the Vietnam War in the 1960s, the permissiveness and the Cultural Revolution in China. These are the core subjects that the Russian Revolution. These are the core subjects, 20th century subjects mostly, and 21st century subjects are the subjects that are being taught in universities. And so students, when they come to university, pack out the modules that are on the Second World War and those that are on the First World War. They want to know about the Nazis, we hope for the right reasons, and they want to know about the causes of the Second World War. They want to know about the Russian Revolution, and they want to know about the Chinese revolutions. And those are the primary subjects that they want to learn. And they often want a narrative on those subjects that is not a decolonized narrative, but is a narrative that they're familiar with. There is a way, of course, of teaching all of those subjects that's in a very decolonized way. But that's not the narrative that these students are often looking for. They're looking for the established narrative that has been delivered to them through the core curricula at GCSE and at A level. And they're looking for the degrees to replicate those core curricula. Unfortunately, they are not looking for a decolonized module on a subject that they feel that they already know. And they're not often looking for a decolonized module on a subject that they don't know. There are exceptions, of course, but those exceptions are the exception. The vast majority of students want to follow the progress and the path that has been laid out from GCSE. So this means that decolonizing is often unpopular with the vast majority of students. The theory, the idea of it may be exciting, but the practice of it often isn't. Black studies programs often don't get that much support. There are exceptions. There are some exceptions. Often it's about how they're marketed that affects it. And often Black studies programs deliver, unfortunately, a colonized curriculum because the teachers of the Black studies programs have not decolonized their own curricula. So a Black studies program will often begin with enslavement and end with the 1960s, as if that is Black studies. It's a very strange thing. So unfortunately, we've got a lot of work to do. A lot of work to do, and it's a very lengthy process. And institutions need to put their money where their mouth is and set aside finances and core programs and core developments to decolonize their curricula and to build curricula for the 21st century. And that has a financial cost to it. And it has a time allocation. And it's also about cherishing staff that are already engaged in these processes and supporting them in these processes, not just by burdening them even more with more work, but actually giving them the time and space to develop. And it's about being innovative. Sometimes you have to be innovative in the way in which these programs develop and the way in which staff wish to develop these programs and give new programs a chance to grow. Sometimes when you create a new thing, it may not work the first time. It may not work for 2, 3, 4, even 5 years. But you keep going with it.